Hello, people. My father says I shouldn't eat while I am broadcasting, but frankly, I don't have a lot of time, um, especially in the next couple of days. There seems to be a lot of interest in Iran for some reason. Can't imagine why. Um, if people want to join and talk and ask questions, etc., we can do that. Um, Olson says, just finished listening to the Remnant podcast when Ken Pollock was interviewed about the Iranian situation. I would be interested to hear your take. Didn't see it. With that, which news sources do you follow concerning Iranian news? I mostly listen to Persian languages stuff or Hebrew language stuff, so not not a lot of English language stuff in my mix. And when it's there, it's usually to try to figure out what the stupid people are saying. Um, I do listen to the commentary podcast on a regular basis, but that's partially for the Jewish stuff. Here is the link. But I am going to start eating. So here you go.
رضا پهلوی وارث تاج ایران انتظارمون روز شاهیته سر فرازیمون پادشاهیته زن زندگی آزادی مرد میهن آبادی جاوید شاه جاوید شاه این ملت آزادی میخواد به جای غم شادی میخواد ایران آزاد شکوه دیرین میخواد زن زندگی آزادی مرد میهن آبادی جاوید شاه جاوید شاه مردم ایران بازگشت تو را از خود میخوان ایران آزاد میشه شاه برمیگرده این آخرین نبرده پهلوی برمیگرده زن زندگی آزادی مرد میهن آبادی جاوید شاه جاوید شاه این آخرین برمیگرده جاوید شاه
Always a banger. Yeah, it's rough, man. A lot of unknown unknowns, a lot of known unknowns, a lot of questions to be had. The first question is, So what updates have you seen since you last streamed? Because I haven't been keeping up with the news as much. I've been busy.
Apparently, there was an election in the Assembly of Experts, which apparently Israel bombed where they were counting the votes. But there weren't actually members of the Assembly of Experts there. And apparently, Mojtaba was elected to be the next Ayatollah.
Yeah. I wonder, do you think that like this is, I mean, I know this is more evangelical Christian language and you probably would be fine with, but like, do you think this is end time stuff?
No.
Okay. So yeah, I guess I need to listen to less evangelical Christian content on YouTube.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Here, I will have Kirk do what he's best at, which is read.
Genuine WikiLeaks.
Yeah.
Genuine WikiLeaks document. Temporary marriages in Iran are basically legalized prostitution. The mullah who performs the ceremony basically acts as pimp to poor women who come for help. Americans have difficulty understanding this level of depravity. So, if I may comment on this,
Yeah.
this is bad, and I'm not a fan of the way that the Iranian government treats women. At the same time, I think Julian Assange is not a great person.
Nobody said, well, I certainly don't think Julian Assange is a great person, but this is a genuine communique regarding the Iranian government from London to the State Department. So, go ahead.
1.5 summary. Mojtaba Khamenei, son of Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei, reportedly is widely viewed within the regime as a succeed to at least a share of national leadership. His foster may also see him in that light. A close ally of Tehran Mayor Kalibaf, Mojtaba is seen by many as second only to Golpayajani within the office of the Supreme Leader. Mujtab is close to and well briefed by IRGC senior leaders. He is well aware of the distinct limitations his own relative youth imposes on him in the political culture of the Islamic Republic.
This is like 20 years ago. What year was this come out? This was 2008. So 17 years ago.
18 years ago, it's 2026.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, this is, yeah. 2. Summary continued. This view of Mojtaba Khamenei was given by UK-based Iranian expatriate broadcaster Alireza Nourizadeh, who provided input in conjunction with his own plans to move to the United States and to apply for a USG grant to create an Iran information bank. Nourizadeh will soon visit Washington and will try to promote his idea to the department and other USG officials. Nourizadeh claims a senior Iranian official has recently tried to bribe him to halt his broadcast, and also claims HMG security officials have told him he may be in some physical danger in the UK. End summary.
HMG, I believe, is His Majesty's government. This is from London, after all.
5.
3. S.
The 3.
Secret.
3S.
Yeah.
In response to a department's request, refer A for information on Mojtaba Khamenei, son of and deputy to the Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei, London Iran watcher Poloff queried UK-based Iranian area experts, and bloggers, received few useful replies beyond rhetorical responses, information available in media, or derivations of recent work by respected U.S.-based scholars Mehdi Halaji and Karim Sajadpour.
By the way, Kareem Sajadpour was, I linked a discussion with him on my Discord. He's, I would say, one of the best analysts out there. Although it appears he is kind of a CIA mouthpiece. He knows what he's talking about.
4. SNS over NF. In contrast,
Secret no something. I don't know what the NF is for.
yeah. In contrast, VOA contract Iranian expatriate broadcaster Ali Reza Nourizadeh, RFB, provided a detailed, nuanced response, attributing his information described in Haras
Paragraphs 8 through 16.
paragraphs 8 through 16 to various sources in Iran, including an unspecified regular contact of his in the Supreme Leader office, and to what he called fairly common knowledge among observers in Iran. 7. Nourizadeh offered the below account, paragraphs 8 through 16 of Mojtaba Khamenei, to stir USG internet interest and possible support for his own USG grant application, discussed paragraphs 17 through 19 and 24. Nourizadeh's information, views, and conjecture on Mojtaba Khamenei should be evaluated in that light as possibly tailored to the needs and predilections of a USG audience. Uh, 8. Mojtaba Khamenei is approximately 41 years old. His marriage to the daughter of former Majlis Speaker Haddad Adel followed 2 temporary marriages available under Iranian law and occurred relatively late in life, reportedly due to an impotency problem treated and eventually resolved during 3 extended visits to the UK at Wellington and Cromwell Hospitals, London. Mojtaba was expected
So just I want to comment on these temporary marriages. This is what happens. Poor women, oftentimes either were widowed or divorced or orphaned or otherwise destitute women, go to their local mullah, their local imam, their local pastor in Christian terms, and ask for help. And he very conveniently helps them by arranging a temporary marriage, which can be from anywhere from an hour to 99 years, but generally it's a few days, maybe a few weeks, maybe a few months. But oftentimes just hours or days. And a wealthy man gets to take advantage of her. Yeah. And he gets paid much more than she does. Because reasons. And these men might be single, but they may also be married already because polygamy is legal in Iran. So I want you to understand what kind of society lets poor, destitute women who come to their religious leader be pimped out to wealthy men, sometimes, if not often, married, for temporary marriages. I want you to understand what kind of society this is. And the fact is that this is not an accusation that in Iran would in any way besmirch Mojtaba Khamenei, the new supreme leader, the new, as it were, kind of pope in Iran. His supposed, like, holiness and ethics. This isn't the accusation anybody's talking about. It's the accusation of impotence that people are talking about. Okay, you can keep on reading.
Okay. Under
I am
Iranian law,
going to mute so that oh Hanji, hey, so that you guys don't have to listen to. Are you guys hearing Lucky with his
Yeah.
fingers? Yeah.
and occurred relatively late in life, reportedly due to an impotency problem treated and eventually resolved during 3 extended visits to the UK at Wellington and Cromwell Hospitals, London. Mujtaba was expected by his family to produce children quickly, but needed a 4th visit to the UK for medical treatment. After a stay of 2 months, his wife became pregnant. Back in Iran, a healthy boy, now about 1-year-old, was born named Ali for his paternal grandfather. Mujtaba, talented, connected, and coming, according to this essay. Within the Supreme Leader's office, Mujtaba works in his father's shadow and in strong partnership with and under the tutelage of one of the Supreme Leader's leading deputies, Ashkar Hijazi. Mujtaba is reportedly considered by informed observers and regime officials to rank second within the office behind Director Goldpayajani. Payajani. He is seen as an intellectual manager and a strong and capable leader with a forceful personality. His father-in-law, Ghulam Haddad Adel, reportedly is an influence on Mujtaba. 10. Mujtaba is said to have a fair degree of control over access to his father and stays very close to him, including during the Supreme Leader's travels in Iran. London 000 to a bunch of numbers. Though there has been no formal nor any internal acknowledgement of succession plans or expectations, Ali Khamenei is reportedly seen by some within the leader's office as treating and consulting Mujtaba as he would an eventual successor to his responsibilities, rather than purely as an advisor. Mujtaba also reportedly has a leading central oversight role for all political and security matters handled by the Supreme Leader's office. Mujtaba is reportedly extremely well informed. His principal sources, including IRGC General Officer Mohammed Bakr Zolkadar Kardr and IRGC Commander Mohammed Al Jafari. Mujtaba reportedly has long maintained a very close relationship with Tehran mayor and presidential hopeful Mohammad Bakr Kalibaf. Mujtaba was reportedly the backbone of Kalibaf's past and continuing election campaigns. Mujtaba is said to help Kalibaf as an advisor, financier, and provider of senior level political support. His support for and closeness to Kalibaf reportedly remains undiminished, but too young to go it alone. 14. Mujtaba is reportedly widely regarded in regime circles as possessing formidable and growing power and political structure, but is also seen as still much too young by Islamic Republic norms to aspire to the mantle of national leadership by himself. Another limiting factor is Mujtaba's limited level of achievement. He is reportedly not expected ever to achieve by his own scholarship the status of mujtahid, far less that of Ayatollah. Mujtaba reportedly is quite aware of his own limitations and does not appear to harbor an expectation of becoming sole supreme leader in his own right.
Okay, so again, I have to point out, people imagine that Khamenei, Ali Khamenei, or his son Mujtaba are somehow considered religious leaders. They're not. They are obviously unqualified for the religious roles which they pretend to occupy. And religious Muslims know that. It's obvious. And Mujtaba didn't have it. Ali Khamenei didn't have it. But the problem that these people have with their anti popes is that they need somebody who's willing to do their political will, and they can't find any such person. The actual leader, the person who really leads Shia Islam, is Ayatollah Sistani in Iraq. Ayatollah Sistani has repeatedly and often talked about how he does not believe in the concept of Vilayat Faqih. When Shia in Iraq tried to advocate for such a thing, Ayatollah Sistani would obviously have there is no other choice. He would have had to been accepted as the Wali, and he would never accept a role like that. He doesn't believe in roles like that. And this is a major problem that these people have, but Americans don't understand this. They don't know this. They think the Ayatollah. Like, Mujtaba is unqualified to be an Ayatollah, exactly like his father was. This is not a religious thing. Let me also, Khazi's with us. He says, I'm good, Eolson, trying to understand what's happening around us. It was Purim, so that was nice, but due to war, it looks like school is closed for the next few weeks, so it's going to be a bit challenging. We wish you all the best, Khazi. Yeah, it's still Shushan Purim here in Los Angeles, kind of, because Los Angeles was not a walled city during the time of Joshua. So it's not really actually Shushan Purim, but there you go. Okay, I think that's enough of reading that stuff. Andrew, you had comments.
I survived a round of layoffs at work today.
Good job.
Thank you.
I am very proud of you for surviving layoffs.
Yeah, it's a sign of my bright career. Scary as hell, though.
Of course
Scary
not,
as hell.
Kazi. I'm drinking tea, like any good person would.
Yeah. I mean,
You not? Oh my God! You don't show up on here very often. Muslim Khan.
Okay, getting through the days. I just wanted to. I'm not sure I'll stay for long. I just wanted to say thank you for the updates on Iran. I mean, it has been interesting and a point of view that I haven't gotten from others. And since you mainly go on the stream saying no one cares about these updates, I figured I'd tell you that I had listened to those updates, but not live because you do it in the middle of the night for me.
Yeah. Honestly, that means a lot to me. I do every once in a while listen to your father's streams, but unfortunately my Hebrew is not good enough for that. And obviously your father and I have a lot of disagreements.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm glad. I mean, I'm glad to hear. I didn't know you listened to that, and that's.
I always try to keep abreast of people who I disagree with, who are intelligent, and your father seems pretty intelligent despite his views.
I would extend the same compliments to you.
Thank you. No, I mean, honestly, I try to listen to Hebrew stuff because I think it's important to be able to understand the language and the way people speak. Because frankly, I think Americans really don't understand Iran. But my Farsi isn't that great, and my modern Hebrew is even worse. So, yeah, it's hard.
I would say that my sense of Israeli journalism, including some of the Urim Vetumim, like the really great ones that were very good over the years, has gotten to the point where it's pretty much impossible to find good journalism. And I don't mean to point like at the people who disagree with me. I mean in general. I think when you're living in an insane situation for long enough, everyone gets insane. Like I see it with a lot of people around, let's say, the people I know a bit more closely around the more left wing area. That I think one instance that I can think of directly is when the chief military attorney was like it was suspected that she had committed suicide, and like everyone, journalists that should know better, were like posting these obituaries and everything, and then it turns out she was alive. And to me, like that's kind of an indication of like how the whole system is like it's hard to really blame people, right? You live in an
Aviti Pashati, I have to say that Mujtaba being elected the next Ayatollah is not confirmed, and it's not even confirmed that he's still alive. So I may be going off rumors, but I definitely hear you. Yeah.
You for sure, but you're not a journalist, right? Like that's like I'm not like judging anyone who tweeted about this, because like that's how the online sphere is. You don't wait for confirmation, you want to be first. But as a journalist, to me, especially as the ones that try to maintain some aura of professionality, I feel like that's something. And I think like even at the time Peterson was talking about it, like what Twitter does even to him personally, like as a person who lives there, you know, it just it makes people act very erratically and irrationally. So
Yeah, I mean, in my view, you want better journalistic standards from journalists than Democracy Now! Has.
Well, this is definitely true. So Gilad, tell us, how has things been in the secular side of Tel Aviv during all of this?
I'm not in Tel Aviv proper, right? I'm in around the central area of the country. How have things been? I would say, like in general, you know, we're all very tired. It's been very difficult to like hold this conflict for these several years, with, you know, a lot of disruptions to day-to-day life. I'd say in general that most everyone is sort of supportive and hopeful for the war at this point, which I think is, you know, it's very tenuous in the sense of like if worse disasters happen, and if like the changes that people hope to see, or like specifically the regime change, doesn't pan out, I don't think there would be this much support for it, at least at the secular side. I think there's definitely on the more religious side, you know, the sort of apocalyptic views always come up more strongly at these times.
Yeah. I mean, I even noticed it yesterday at the Purim Soda. There's definitely, I mean, yeah, there's a religious aspect to it. And as Israel becomes more religious, I don't think it's strange that, yeah, you are more likely for this attack was more likely to happen in Purim than it was in Av. You know?
I think the mechanism. We might agree or disagree about the mechanism, but I do agree about like that conclusion. Like I think the mechanism is that the symbolism, like this current regime knows how to use the symbolism to gather support, and so.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I disagree with Chezi. I don't think the klipa is coming off. I think the klipa is going on. I detest, as anyone from Iran would. One of the chants on Sunday at the demonstration was, "I hate your religion. I hate your religion, and I hate your views," right? And that was the monarchist chant. Like they don't directly talk about how much they hate Islam, but there's about 25% of Iranians who have learned to absolutely hate Islam because the Iranian government dresses itself up in Islam.
Yeah.
And I perfectly understand, as an Israeli, if you have a government that dresses itself up in a religion it doesn't actually believe in, and there are people who have tried to convince me that no, Bibi Netanyahu. Even I think Yoav really thinks Bibi Netanyahu really does pray. I don't think Bibi Netanyahu has a religious bone in his body.
I would be very surprised if he does. Like, it certainly doesn't appear so from anything that I ever seen or been exposed to.
But what about the Jordan Peterson axiom that there are no atheists?
That doesn't mean that the people who aren't atheists aren't worshiping idols of their own making, that they're not material, that their God isn't the material dialectic, that their God isn't kochi ve'otam yadi, my own strength, etc. I don't think Bibi Netanyahu, he every time I see him, he has in his bookcase behind him the Zohar and the Talmud. The idea that Bibi Netanyahu knows enough Aramaic to open up a Zohar or a Talmud I don't think is a reality. I think there are props behind him.
The thing about the props, like every shoot he does, he carefully selects the props, and they are like you could see like the changes through different shoots, but like the message is the point. It's not. He's not trying to like keep the books that he wants to read like immediately in the props. It's all signaling, right? That's just in general true for those sorts of shoots.
Okay, pardon me. I'm looking at here. I will pull up the actual picture. It wasn't the Talmud and the Zohar. It's the Zohar and a Kahati Mishnayot, which Kahati Mishnayot, Baruch Hashem, thanks to Rabbi Kahati, despite his fervent Zionism, he wrote something where even a school child in Israel could, with their modern Hebrew, understand the Mishnah. And I sincerely hope that maybe once in his life, Bibi has actually opened up a Mishnah, but I doubt very much he's going to be making any siyumim on Shisha Sidrei Mishnah. But the blue books behind him, that's the Zohar. And I assure you, he's not reading that volume of Zohar, mostly because it's such a bad print. If you open it up, Like, even if you know Hebrew, it's bad.
Aramaic.
Actually, Aramaic. It's impossible to read, right? Because it's photostat copies of something that's like 100 years old, right? But that's how he frames it. It's Judaism is part, and the Magen David, right? The Star of David is this is him dressing himself up in my religion, and I don't like it. I don't like it.
I don't like it either, and it's not for religious purposes, or maybe you could say it's for religious purposes. To me, like the sense is that there are tenets of Judaism that I feel that I live by. One of them is lo ta'asa shekel b'nafshecha.
Yeah, and if I may, one of the things I think about this is that, like, it depends on how you relate to Judaism. Like, for example, I have a conservative Jewish friend, and he tells me that religion and even Judaism has nothing to do with belief in God. It's just about ethics. He relates to Judaism through ethics. Well, could one not argue that perhaps the way Netanyahu relates to Judaism is through his ethics?
But he doesn't. He has his ethics, and then he takes Judaism, and that's what people who don't believe in God do when they say Judaism is their source of ethics. I'm sorry. It really is. And frankly, I keep on going back to this word parazit, which is modern Hebrew for parasite, and it's the slur that way too many people, including I listen to way too much Dan Shiftan, use against the religious. And frankly, I think it most aptly is talking about the people who dress themselves up in Judaism, and they're not Jewish. I think that's the real parazit. It is a parasite on Judaism to dress yourself up with the Magen David, with the Star of David, with the menorah, with Hebrew, with this and that, and the other thing I wanted to mention is people were chanting Bibi's name at the demonstrations, but Bibi in Farsi means queen, which I thought was hilarious.
Maybe they were talking about Pahlavi's wife or something.
No. They were definitely talking about. I don't know. Did you see the video of my father dancing with the picture? Okay, I am going to show yet again this now somewhat famous video. Let me pull it up of my father dancing in the streets. It's funny. I was at the same demonstration, but the demonstration was large enough that I didn't see my own father there. My uncle took this video, and my cousin apparently was there too, and I missed her too. But this is my father dancing with two pictures. One of them is a picture of Bibi, and the other one is a picture of Bibi with Trump.
Yeah, that is kind of funny.
So that's my father, and this intersection he's dancing in, several 100,000 cars go past this intersection on a regular day. On a Sunday, they had shut down Wilshire Boulevard at Veteran. Like, somebody from Los Angeles understands what this means. It's like, I don't know. So
that was sort of directed by the administration because they sort of want to emphasize the administration was preparing for intervention and they wanted to sort of hype it up.
No, hold on. This is this Sunday, so it was after the intervention.
Oh, okay. I thought because I know that there were this isn't the first time they've closed it.
Oh, no. They do this on a regular basis, but they do it on a regular basis. So you have to understand the way U.S. government works. The federal government has no control over what happens on that street.
I see.
The state government could, but it doesn't. The fact is that this type of road closure is basically the area, right? The local city council member knows where his bread is buttered, and he will close he will close that Wilshire all day long for the politically active people who show up there because he needs their votes. So I don't know how often he would do it on a Monday. On a Sunday, it's a bit easier because there isn't that much traffic. But like, imagine like where Kvish Achad comes into Tel Aviv, like closing that exit right there.
Yeah.
That's basically what they did.
Yeah, and in Israel, like the blocking of main roads has been happening, back then. So like that's not like I don't need to imagine it. I've seen it.
I forgot about that. Yeah. So how have you been? You put out a new song I saw not too long ago.
Yeah, this is. The song itself was out for a while, for I think almost a year, but we actually worked with a really talented visual artist. I encountered her. She had made a booklet, maybe I could call it, of art based on the poetry of Yona Volach, who is a really unique Israeli poet. From I think she died in the 80s or the 90s. And we made a cover for one of her poems that was already made into a song earlier. And this has just felt like when I saw her work, I just felt like it really touched something that I felt really connects with the music and everything. And it's kind of it's the only song we have in Hebrew. I feel like it's a bit of like I would call it like a celebration of Hebrew, right? There's something about it that's because her art is like she takes I think it's called typography or something like that, or calligraphy. So she takes the lettering in Hebrew and she makes it into like a visual art style thing.
Typography. Typography.
And I don't know if you got to watch the video, but
I did. Yeah, I did. So, two different questions I wanted to ask you. You'll answer whatever you like. One, I've been playing with Suno AI, which is the music AI, and that's where I've started getting my music, and I can understand the sycophantic nature of it. So I don't expect it to make great music that'll be vastly popular and unifying. But I could definitely see myself, instead of having a Spotify in the future, just having a Suno music chatbot which plays the music, like generates music just for me, which is kind of a weird and scary idea. And the other thing I wanted to ask you about is what's going on with your physics work?
So I have some really interesting results. Like I worked for several years to build up the experimental apparatus to measure this quantum Bell experiment in this novel way. And I actually managed to get like clear quantum correlations. And generally, like I already see something that you wouldn't see if the effect wasn't there. But there's a threshold when you do a Bell inequality or CHSH inequality. There's a threshold that if you pass it, then like no classical phenomenon could explain this. So you show that it's like real entanglement and everything. And specifically, it's like you measure some average, and that once that average is larger than 2, then it couldn't be achieved by any classical system. And at the moment, I have like 1.9. Like there's a visibility thing, and like you have to really reduce the noise and any conflicting factors. But it's really like on the verge of a really nice publishable result, and that could also spur maybe another article or two. So I feel like it's coalescing a bit. But
So Nobel Prize in Physics when?
Yeah.
yeah, no, I just to put it in context, right? Like this is, on one hand, it's something that like this threshold over 2 has been measured many times. Specifically, the way that we're trying to measure it is without using things called beam splitters, and it's basically taking it to like from discrete variables to continuous variables, and removing some of the system specific things. So
Yeah.
the experiments that have existed always needed to be like tailored to the specific particles you're measuring, and the method that we created is something that you could do with any pair of particles, even if they're not the same particles, and even if they're entangled across different degrees of freedom. So like one is the energy and one is the spin, or one is the position and one is the angular momentum, or something like that. And specifically like that the motivation was to do this with an electron photon pair, and that hasn't been measured yet. So that was like the idea is that I'm building like a baseline for something that could be used to make a more, let's say, significant and practical use, which is also like, first of all, it's interesting because even though we describe electrons and photons as entangled, they've never been measured in this way to be entangled. Like they've shown like things called entanglement witnesses, but not a Bell test, which is like the highest version of it. And so like it's kind of like this always in science, right? You're building a stepping stone that could lead to a thing that, like, I could say that when you do electron photon entanglement, that actually does come close to like technology or real world consequences, because at the moment with quantum computing, there are advantages for photon-based computers, and there are advantages for electrons or ion-based computers. And if you could have a reliable method to connect the different particles together, then that could... Oh, rocket alarm coming soon. So
You're gonna have to go soon.
Okay.
Are you working on your PhD already, or you're?
yeah, this is my PhD. I have about a year and a half or 2 years left.
Okay. Was there anything you wanted to say, Gilad, before you have to go, or anything you wanted to talk about?
Yeah, I mean, just like I said, I wanted to say thank you for the streams about Iran, because, as you say, it's useful to have someone with a bit of a closer perspective, like how people that are related to Iran, your family's from Iran, you were born there. I felt that was a perspective that was needed, and I also follow Karim Sajipur. He seems to be the most, I think, well-thought analyst in this field that I've encountered so far. So.
He's very good. I think he is kind of a CIA kind of. I mean, he's definitely establishment American. So there's that. Some people might think that's good, and some people might think that's bad. But I think it's worth listening to him. There's a Middle East forum web channel that has lots of different people. I think I've posted some of their videos on the Discord. That's in English, but yeah, it's hard to know. It's hard to know.
Before I go, there is one thing that I wanted to say before, and I forgot. And I'll leave you on this bombshell.
Yeah.
As they say. I would say this. I think in the very, very optimistic case that regime change actually happens in Iran in a way that makes Iran a better place for Iranians and more friendly to the West.
Mm.
I would say that while I truly fear the consequences that would have internally for Israel because of the sort of apocalyptic tendencies that we have, even as I fear it, I feel like that still might be a better world. Like I think the way in which that sort of Israel would be bad for the world is still better than the way Iran was to Iran and to the world. And so I think it would be pretty bad. Like I don't see a really good option for where like here goes to, but I do hope, despite the costs, that things would be better for 92 million Iranians um, and that things pan out on the best possible scenario.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I hear you. Just because politically we may or may not disagree. Like, good people actually wish for the best for the world, regardless of I think a bad person is willing to burn down a place so that they can be the king of the ashes, and a good person is like, no. If even if it's not the way I want, I would rather things go well.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm gonna go because the alarms are gonna sound at any minute. now.
I'll send you a question on Discord because I have a question about physics and math for you.
All right, sure.
Gilad is such a nice guy.
Gilad is an incredibly nice guy.
Even though he's left leaning, I'm a fan.
And my poor dear friend Chazi still doesn't get it.
Yeah.
Still doesn't get it.
I think the Zionist position has become more defensible after seeing what happened after October 7th. Right? I mean, because if it is kind of a miracle how, despite all the anti-Semitism in the diaspora, for the most part, to my understanding, Israelis after October 7th have been safe.
I mean, look, October 7th was a very, very precarious situation, and the people who believe that there wasn't an existential threat to Israel don't understand what it means for that when the Israeli security establishment heard what was going on in the south, they sent their emergency forces north. They don't comprehend that. And they don't comprehend why that was the proper decision. They don't understand why that was the decision. It just confuses them. But when you realize that the attacks on October 7th, if they hadn't been perpetrated by foolish and cursed people, then it could have been a lot worse. And there are people like our good friend Chazi, who I love very much, who like to posture and might actually believe that Israel was not under a huge strain and doesn't continue to be under a huge strain because of everything that's going on. Like, I watch the people who talk about Greater Israel and Israel from, yesterday, Greater Israel was trending on Twitter, right? And like Israel dominating from the Euphrates to the Nile is something that some delusional people have in their mind. It is so idiotic. It is so And I understand if you're a religious Christian or you're a religious Jew, you're like, miracles can happen. Yes, miracles can happen. I do believe miracles can happen. Ein somchen al hanes, right? So it's Purim. I will discuss one of the most famous bits of Talmud. Now I'm forgetting who I think it was Rabbi Chia and Rava who made a Purim Seuda together, right? And one of them got drunk and shechted the other. And the next day, God was merciful and resurrected the one who got shechted. Shecht means to slaughter, ritual slaughter. And the next year, the rabbi who shechted the other rabbi invites him over for Purim, and he declines, and he says, miracles don't happen every day. And it's unfortunate when people can't accept. There are people who are going to go back every single year and expect resurrection every single year. It is not a ridiculous straw man of your position, my dear Fred Chazi. Israel is not a mini superpower. Israel is a country that is struggling deeply, and by miracles and the skin of its teeth is surviving, thanks to, including the United States. And I'm sorry, but to say, Jacob, don't be part of the 80% that stayed in Egypt and in Babylon, Ptachat Einecha, my dear friend, Ptachat Einecha, this is not a picture. Here, where's let me pull up the picture again of dear leader. This man is not reading the Zohar, and he's not even reading the Karati Mishnayot behind him. That's window dressing. That's window dressing. To his left and to his right, it's window dressing. Oh, come on. This is ridiculous.
But to steelman the Zionist position, I think there's an argument to be made that because there's an idea that within every Jew they have a Jewish neshama, that there is something Jewish about Netanyahu on a metaphysical level, even though he's not religious.
Yes, and you know what we don't believe, unlike what the anti-Semites imagine that we do believe, is that a Jewish soul means that what you do is for the betterment of the world, as opposed to maybe for the destruction of the world. That just because you're Jewish, maybe God is holding you to a higher standard, and this level of hypocrisy, this level of being a parasite on Judaism is and being Mechalel Shem Shemayim, because you are using Judaism as window dressing, is actually a Chilul Hashem, and it's worse. The fact that he's Jewish only makes it worse, not better.
I mean, it depends how you view Netanyahu's character, right? I mean, he's not the best person in the world, but I think there are a lot of the criticisms of him that he's corrupt and such are coming from people who are themselves pretty ignorant of Israeli politics and history.
He's not a religious Jew. That's for sure.
And that's a fair view to say. And I guess what I'm saying though
Okay, so you know what? I asked for three things. Take that Magen David, take that Star of David off your flag, take that Zohar from behind your bookcase, and take that Kahati Mishnayot from behind your bookcase, and take them out of the picture. That's all I ask.
But wouldn't you rather a secular Jew at least identify with Jewish tradition to some extent?
Not as window dressing, not as a excuse, not as a parasite, not as a parasite. No,
Okay.
it's not good. If you're going to go steal, if you're going to go rob a bank, I don't want you wearing a yarmulke. I don't want you wearing tzitzit while you go rob a bank.
But do you think that what Netanyahu is doing is as nearly as immoral as that?
It doesn't matter. The fact is, the only reason he's dressing things up in Jewish clothing, it's not because he doesn't have a Kahati Mishnayot because he actually studies those Kahati Mishnayot. It's window dressing. It's window dressing. That's automatically a Chilul Hashem.
But I guess the point is, you can't get inside someone else's mind like that.
Kirk, do you think that Benjamin Netanyahu seriously has ever cracked open that set of Mishnayot?
My personal belief is probably not, but I don't know.
No, you do know. You just don't want to know.
Okay.
Thank you very much, RJ. Jacob makes a great point. I just think it's got some uncomfortable implications. Yes. Yes, that's the problem. We all live in Jacob's mind. Paul, you should jump on.
Yeah, I would like to talk to Paul. He's a nice guy. Gilad, Paul.
I have news for you, Kirk. If Paul jumps on, I'm probably going to boot you.
Well, I'd rather listen to Paul than listen to me.
I'll agree with that. Paste.
So, I mean, I did.
Chazi, my dear friend, do you actually believe? And here, let's make it an even stronger question. Do you believe that Benjamin Netanyahu would even recognize a picture of a page of that Sulam Zohar? He has Zohar in Pirush Sulam that he has behind him. Do you've seen those Sulam Zohars? I have one right here. I can show you. I have one chelek. I don't have an entire set. Somebody gave it to me. I can show you. It's illegible. You know that. You know it's illegible. The only reason he has that particular volume is because it's recognizable as the Zohar, and you know it. Chazi, I'm being done l'chav zchut and saying that you're lying to yourself. He definitely, if he wanted to study the Zohar, he would not be using that Zohar. He would not be using those. Here, I'll pull. I have it right here. I have a volume right here. Where is it? Right here, Chalak Aleph. See, you can see it's the exact same book, right? It's illegible, Chazi. It's illegible. There's no way he's actually studying this.
Yeah.
No way. No way. He can't
Yeah,
get a
given-
better print of the Zohar. He can't get a better print of the Zohar. Maybe one with a translation to Hebrew. If he actually cared. My God.
Yeah. I mean, given the fact that it's in Aramaic, I think I've come around to your position that he probably doesn't study it. So
He definitely, if he does study, if he wanted to study the Zohar, this would not be the copy that he got. There is no way he would get an illegible copy that doesn't have a translation to Hebrew. No way.
yeah. But I think you could also say that even though he doesn't study it, as a symbol of reflection of the nation, it's better to have religious symbolism for the nation, right?
I'm thinking small, Hazi. I'm thinking small.
Yeah, Hezi, I think Jacob is right about this one because I don't think he has enough he knows enough Aramaic to understand the Zohar like that.
No, it's not. It's not even that. Chazi thinks that when Bibi Netanyahu puts on his little yarmulke, right, that he keeps in his pocket, that Chazi gets all excited. He's like, Senpai notices me. Senpai notices me. Mark, you should jump on. To study the Zohar, no one cares. Most Jews haven't read the Zohar. Then stop using it as window dressing in your effing pictures. Why is it in the picture, Chazi? Why is it so prominent? It's right there. Like it's in the middle of the picture. Why? Thank you, RJ. Performative Judaism is gross and needs to be addressed on both sides of the extremes. No one likes the crazed Hasidus or secular types. Thank you. Thank you. Don't dress up your effing political agenda in my religion. Mark! How you doing?
Hi.
Hello.
So I'm just muting and unmuting different things as I jump in.
How are
Spoofing.
you, Tbilisi?
Everyone.
What?
How are you, Jacob? How is your extended family? I think many people have been praying for you.
Thank you. I mean, I don't have any family that are presently in Iran that I know of. Everybody, I think, is even the people who live in Iran are currently in the United States. Although I would be kind of curious to speak to a particular cousin of mine who, over Thanksgiving, was encouraging me to go visit Iran.
It's a 3-day walk from here, so you can pop to Georgia while you're there.
I've actually considered coming and visiting Georgia because of just to see Burn Power. You know, do you talk to Burn at all, or do you,
He's literally a 10-minute walk from my house.
okay?
And we have met up once, and that was it. And I have bumped into him on the street, but he doesn't seem interested in me, and I'm not pushing it. So there we go.
Okay.
Burn Power. I can't like playing with it. Okay, just drop it here.
What?
Sorry.
Quite all right. What do the people in Georgia think of the current happenings?
I haven't picked up any strong opinions. A friend of ours is a teacher, and one of her pupils is Iranian. And she was in Iran recently, and she came back to Georgia, which our friend was very happy about. And this girl said her family are okay, but all her friends are dead.
Yeah.
Her parents doesn't
Speak
want-
louder. She studies in Georgia because
Her parents doesn't want her to be in Iran.
she studies in Georgia because her parents don't want her to be in
And
Iran,
she lives here alone.
and she lives here alone. Okay.
Yeah. I am fearful that as the war keeps on progressing, you're going to get waves and waves of Iranian refugees into Armenia and Georgia, and yeah.
Yeah, as far as I can tell, there's a whole lot of prejudice going on with what I'm about to say, so just get over it. But the gap between Iranian culture and Armenian and Georgian culture isn't as wide, as far as I can tell, as most people would think.
Okay.
And maybe you could talk about that, Jacob. Maybe I'm wrong.
Mm. What do you
I don't
mean?
know.
I'm not sure what you mean. What you're saying?
They seem to be more westward facing. Does that make sense?
I really don't know what you mean.
Okay, how do I explain? Let me think about it.
Okay, I'll answer this question. Kurdistan is already the next state of Greater Israel. The Druze and the Kurds realize which side of the bread which side of their bread is buttered on, and it's definitely on the Israeli side. So, to the effect that there is Kurdistan, that Kurdistan is allied with Israel, and frankly, there seems to be a sort of Yoav. We just heard Gilad being forced into air raid shelters just a few minutes ago. So yeah, but
I just came out of the shelter.
uh-huh.
So I'm afraid I missed the beginning of this show. So I will remain silent until I get the spirit of things. I better watch it from the StreamYard because then it's not interrupted by advertisements.
There is that, yeah. I mean, I've actually been trying to understand better Georgian and Armenian history. I don't know much about Georgia and Armenia. Yeah.
Can I interrupt? Sorry, Jacob.
Yeah.
I've got a friend who's an art historian,
Mm.
but he's Georgian. He knows a lot of history, and I'm trying to grab him and just do a podcast on the history of Georgia and the history of Georgia and Armenia.
Mm.
He has a lot of Armenian jokes in the same way that the English have a lot of French jokes.
Mhm.
And I think there's a similarity between the kind of English-French thing and the Armenian-Georgian thing, but I don't know. So hopefully I'll grab him, get him on a podcast, and we'll discuss these things.
Yeah.
We'll see.
The one thing I will say is I suspect, and I don't know enough about Georgia and Armenia to know how true this is, but I suspect the fact that Georgian and Armenian Christians, and the same goes by the Copts,
The what? Sorry?
the Copts in Egypt.
Oh,
Um,
Coptic.
that the fact that these Christians living in Muslim lands have for many years, in fact centuries, had the opportunity to go live in Christian lands has quite likely had a sort of selection effect, where those members of the societies who were more identified with Christianity moved to the West, may have even become Melkites, which is what a lot of the Christians in that area refer to Catholics as. And so there's kind of been a sort of selection bias towards people whose affinities are more ethnic, more, I am Georgian, I am Armenian, I am, I always found it so interesting that you could pretty much guarantee any Armenian Iranian, their kids spoke Armenian. Like in the United States, if the kid stopped speaking one language, it was Armenian. It was Iranian, not Armenian. The kids always learned Armenian, right? And they were so proud of that. And the opposite is true with Persian Jews, right? If they stopped speaking one language, it would be Aramaic or Hebrew, because that was more of the home language, right? And they might speak like I have cousins who still understand a bit of. I also have cousins who still understand Aramaic, but very few, right? But mostly, if they were going to remember something, it wouldn't be Aramaic. It would be Farsi. It would be Persian, right? And I think part of that is that the people who were really into Judaism, which wasn't that as much my family, would go to Israel. They wouldn't come to the United States. They would go to Israel. And I think a similar thing may have happened for centuries among Christians who were living in Muslim lands, which is if their identification was more with their religion, with Christianity, and with the West, they would become Melkites, they would become Catholics, they would migrate to the West. And so you get a much more strongly ethnic identity, a much more regional and even, a tribal affinity to the lands they were in. And I think that might explain how I never understood why Armenia would be closer to, let's say, would be closer allies of Iran, certainly, than Georgia or Poland or the United States and France. But I'm beginning to understand that a little bit better, I think. But I don't know. I know very little. So I wonder what you think, Mark.
I don't know either, but I'm going to ask my two Georgian.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear one.
So why is Armenia closer to Iran than Georgia when Georgia and Armenia share a common religion, a common foundation? What is the beef between Georgia and Armenia? And just what the hell? Any ideas?
Okay, Georgia has lots of very long.
Speak louder.
Georgia has very long history with Iran, and Georgia has also very long history.
So this
with
is Georgia,
Armenia.
Persia. And Georgia was never Muslim, is that correct?
We never, as a country, we never was Muslim, but we have lots of people who live in Georgia who are Muslims, and they are welcome, like Jews, like Muslims.
Georgia is very welcoming
Exactly.
as a people.
As you know, we have a mosque, and
Yeah, there's this
next to the
famous
church.
signpost in in the old town. It says mosque there,
They are
synagogue
next to each
there, Catholic church there, Georgian church there, and
Yeah.
it's all on one signpost, and it's just
Yeah.
like, wow, you guys really accept everyone.
So it's a very long history, so I don't think I'll be able to talk about it, and I don't right now, and I don't remember much of it. But,
It's too complicated.
we-
I'll see if I can do a podcast with
And-
this historian friend of mine, and
and
maybe we'll get to the bottom. And if anyone wants to write me a list of questions to ask him,
and
that'll be great.
and at the same time, this history contains not just good stuff as well.
Of course.
Yeah, there are lots of bad stuff,
Uh-huh.
very bad stuff. So,
One continuous history is I'll just wait for my son to leave. Russia for the last 200 years has consistently fucked Georgia up the ass, to put it mildly. And Georgians are a bit fed up with that. There we go.
Yeah.
So that's the Russian side.
Yeah.
It's like they had peace treaties and blah, 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 and the Russians never held them up. Going back 200 years.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Georgians are fed up with the Russians.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be really interesting to, I mean, even like I talked to Dr. Scherer about it, but he's not very, while he knows a lot and he speaks Armenian and stuff, he himself doesn't feel very knowledgeable. And this is part of the problem with like Iranian stuff. I know that the volume of information and history that is written in Farsi is just not as good. Like if you want to know actual Persian history, you have to read it in English, which is quite shocking when you think about it. Iranians don't know their own history because it's certainly not written generally in Farsi. And things get translated from English to Farsi.
In Georgia, the Georgians are obsessed with history.
Mm.
Like everyone in Georgia is a historian. They know, they remember.
See,
So-
that's the thing. Yes, Iranians are also obsessed with history. It's just they don't know the facts that are actually facts. They know the narratives. They know the stories.
History is a narrative.
History has actual facts in it.
It's a lovely idea.
I would like to see. This is the thing. It's what bothers me most about the postmodern nature of the Islamic regime in Iran. Like the green-red alliance right now is stronger than it ever was.
So what's the Green Red Alliance?
Islam and the Marxists.
And the Green Party. And the trans people.
Oh yeah, I guess there's that too. Yeah. Yeah. But it's there. I mean, I hate watch this one Persian channel. I don't know why I keep on watching it, but I do. I can't stop watching.
You hate watch.
Yeah. It's
That's such a
masochistic.
perfect description.
It's masochistic, honestly. Like listening to it it's masochism, because like he shocks me with his takes. I'm like, at some point he's going to have to come to an actual realization of how the world is, but he doesn't have to. He doesn't. He won't. Reality may assert itself. He may die. He may go bankrupt. The entire Persian regime may fall. like the Islamic regime in Iran may fall. Everything he believes in may completely come out to be false, but he's never going to admit it. Never.
What do the cool kids have to say?
Kirk, somebody wants to hear what you have to say.
I have no clue what I'm talking about when it comes to Iran. So I'll.
Nor do I.
Well,
It's
actually,
okay. Just go for it.
I mean, I pray for the best. I hope that this situation doesn't escalate. I encourage Jacob to go to synagogue and pray, because I do believe in divine providence. I'm very, and I'm not a Maimonidean. I don't think that divine providence is very select. I think divine providence is very widespread. And so yeah, if people pray, I believe God will make things for the best in the end.
I actually went to Mincha and Mariv yesterday, which is the first time in a long time.
Well, good for you, Jacob. As for Armenian and Georgian history, I just don't know enough about it. I'm sorry, but I am curious. I do have a question for you as a Georgian. Did Georgians have a perspective on the Russia-Ukraine situation?
I'm not Georgian. I'm English. I kind of answered that earlier in that Russia hasn't been kind to Georgia ever. And so anything even smelling slightly of Russian is not welcome, shall we say.
Okay, I want to present the other view. Of course, I don't know anything about Georgia. Never been there. Never. Actually,
Come visit Yoav. I'd love to host you.
Possibly, Brian. This is.
It's not far.
Yeah. When it will be in the schedules of my wife, she's the trip organizer. Yeah, lots of Israelis coming to Georgia. Yeah, one day. But I do meet with lots of ex-Russians.
There's a lot of Georgians in Israel. We've got some family there.
Yeah, I know. Lots of Russian speaking, and we cannot distinguish between the Georgians and the Ukraine and the Russians from our point of view. Much.
I didn't.
Well, we have
Okay, so my mother-in-law and my wife are listening. Just so you know, most Georgians can't separate the accent of Ukrainians and Russians.
Yes.
It's so close.
Well, we can. The accent we can because of the pronunciation of the letter H. That's what tells them apart. It's either pronounced as a G or not.
It's maximum volume.
For example, you can either pronounce the city as Tehran, or you can pronounce it as Teheran. That's what tells them apart.
Can you say again? My wife and mother-in-law are listening, and
The letter H.
they're not catching it.
The letter H, as in the city Tehran.
Teheran.
Yeah.
Teheran.
Yeah. So the Russians will pronounce it Teheran.
Teheran. Russians.
Russians call it. Yeah. Russians call it
And what do Ukrainians call it?
Tehran.
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 We say Tehran.
So
For
this
example,
is what tells them apart.
Russians and Ukrainians.
Yeah. The letter H, this is what tells them apart.
Okay, let me talk. Let me
Come.
say something. I'll say it from here.
Can you hear?
For example, Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
In English, it's Georgia, and in Russian, is Gruzia.
Yeah, also in Hebrew.
Yeah, it's complete different. They were translating.
Gruzia?
Yes.
Also in Hebrew. In Hebrew, it's Gruzia.
Yes, probably it got from Russia because Russian language because it's Sakartvelo.
Yeah.
It's not Gruzia. It's not any other name. It's Sakartvelo.
And there's
And it means a place where Kartveli live, like Georgians live.
what Sosa's father, the architect,
Uh-huh.
he said the word Sakartvelo, Georgia,
Yes.
literally means the land of the people of the cross.
Okay, it's a different thing. But the thing is,
I've not heard anyone else say that, but
about Russians,
he said that.
is like Russians translate everything in their own language. Okay.
yeah, like
Everything.
Tbilisi is Tiflis. And there's not even an F in the Georgian language, but
Yes.
Russia throws it in there just to annoy the Georgians.
For
Sorry,
No,
distracted.
no, it's not to annoy the Russians have their way of pronouncing words, and they cannot help it. I mean, they cannot pronounce it. I mean, when a Russian comes to Israel and he has to change the pronunciation to the Hebrew pronunciation, they just can't. They cannot help it. And vice versa. There is a Russian R that Jews cannot pronounce. So even if you're a Jew and you're born in Russia and you're educated in Russia, you can still not pronounce this R.
Gonna have to trust you on that one.
Yeah, and I have to trust whoever told me that because I've never been to Russia. But okay, what I wanted to say is that part that you say that Russians were not kind to the Georgians, that has not sunk into the Russian mind.
Russians think they own Georgia.
Yeah, and then never mind. What they do feel.
No, really, they think Georgia is a part of Russia. They think that.
Yeah, but you
Even
know,
though Georgia's like 8,000 years older than Russia, they think Georgia's a part of Russia.
Yeah, but that doesn't translate to them thinking bad about the Georgians. Yeah?
No. Well,
Okay. Now we're
no,
going to.
politically, they have betrayed Georgia repeatedly for 200 years.
And it's occupied. Yes, Georgia is occupied by Russia. 20%.
Georgia is partly occupied by Russia.
More than 20%.
Anyway, can we not talk about Russia, Georgia, please?
No, yeah, but, I wanted to make a statement, and you kept turning me off it. But if it offends you, then I will make that statement some other time. Okay, Lance, what did you want to say?
Hey, Lance. Good to see
Hi,
you.
Mark. Good to see you. I'm just monitoring the situation over here. I had a little break so I could catch up with my most trusted source on trying to make sense of what's going on. So I had a question.
Hey,
First.
Jacob's popped off, so you can be the moderator, Lance.
I mean, at the end of the day right now, like I'm in a posture of we're less than a week in. Who knows whether this is good or bad, right? At this point,
It's all for the good.
Everything is for the good in the end.
There we go.
That's our Mark Lefebvre axiom. Being is good.
One of the things, I'm old enough to remember when we tuned into the news every night, they were counting down the days of all the American hostages after the revolution. So that was really part of our psyche, and America's actually economy was in the dumper. It was quite a deal. I remember Beirut and what they did there. I know the torture that they skinned one of those CIA guys from Beirut, one of the leaders. They skinned him alive and sent the video to Reagan. I know what Iran has done in terms of arming people in the region, the amount of terror that there. This seems to be really, of anything that's happened, and I think it might be due to one, the technology, seems to allow us to do things that weren't able to be done. And two, because of the post-October 7th and what quite frankly has allowed Israel to finally, move forward and be able to move in this region and the coordination between the United States and Israel, what they're being able to affect in Iran right now and how they're doing it's truly unique. We've not seen something like this before. So,
Lance, are you telling me there are no angels here? I don't believe it.
And
There must be one angel somewhere.
And I've become fairly isolationist, to be honest with you. And I know that's bad or whatever. Just these poorly executed missions the United States has been on. And I am very, so that as soon as I heard this on Saturday morning, my first thought, I just was like, oh no. Like, I just be honest, like that was my gut reaction, was like, oh no.
But Lance, being pro-war and anti-war are both bad. You shouldn't be pro-war or anti-war.
No, I agree.
You should be pro-good war and anti-bad war.
Well, you can always talk yourself into a just war theory sort of thing, but I think there are necessary. I think there are things that are necessary, right? And so I don't disagree with that. So again, I'm keeping an open mind. I'm not anti this right now at all. It would appear in how things have opened up. They have been able to, in a very short period of time, meet some incredible objectives. And it's been astounding of what they've been trying to do, and to be able to take out so many of the regime leaders. My bigger thing is the question I have for Jacob when he come on is, I know that you've got the Iranian Kurds in the north they've probably, it seems what I've seen online is like anywhere from 8 to 10 million of them that might be people that definitely would take up against the regime. Potentially, it seems like maybe we've been arming them over the past few months. I don't know what that looks like.
Decades.
Pardon me?
Decades. Not months.
Yeah, and I think it's ramped up. Mark. Right?
What's the question about the Kurds?
Well, I don't want American troops on the ground. Now, clearly there will be special forces operations units that will be going in and doing things in special operations. The question becomes could the Kurds, if you weaken the IRGC enough, can they go in and be able to basically take control of the cities where you could somehow get some sort of government formed that was more open to being a good partner in a region?
Okay, that has been answered in previous broadcasts. My opinion is there isn't any such thing as the Kurds. There are
right. They're factions. Agreed.
There are factions, tribes, parties. There will never be a Kurdistan. You might then use them tactically for one maneuver or another. For example, if you want to send weapons to Tehran, to the Persians in Tehran, you might do it via Kurdish route.
Okay. Yep.
But I would not count on the Kurds or on any tribes in the Middle East. Never trust any tribe in the Middle East.
Okay.
I think that is a lesson we have learned so many times.
So you don't think that there could be so there are times when enemies become allies to defeat a common enemy, right? So even though so to some extent, like you say, if you could use them as the vehicle to help maybe arm other civilians to where they can take over the cities, and then pragmatically, there's not going to be some Kurdistan, but could there be a way where it's like, we want to just get rid of this regime. We're going to help our fellow countrymen to, get rid of this regime because that's better as a whole. And who knows what gets formed after that. But, potentially there could be a way where I would just call the Iranian people and the Kurdish factions could figure out a way to live together better.
Okay. First, I want to answer Mr. Artisan Artifact who is commenting and showing a lot of misunderstanding. First thing he said, he was quoting a Mr. Bennett, an Israeli politician, Mr. Bennett, as having ambitions against Turkey. And this is a complete understanding of Mr. Bennett. Mr. Bennett, first, is a nobody. Second, is a nobody who can never be trusted by anybody in Israel. And his current play is trying to be the leader of the left. As a leader of the left, he will never say we have ambitions against Turkey because he needs to speak peace to his intended future audience, which are going to be fools if they listen to anything he says, but they are fools. Second, he was saying that I was a bit anti-Semitic if I spoke against the Arabs. I was not speaking against the Arabs, I was speaking about the Kurds, and the Kurds are not Semitic.
Wait, are you saying it's not just England that has bad politicians? I'm shocked.
Bad politicians are the norm. Politicians that will completely betray their camp also are the norm. The fact that they can go on running in politics and somebody listens to them, that's the shocking part. Once you have established a firm reputation as a double crosser, well, you're running for the head of the camp of the fools.
Sorry, say that the last line again.
Once you have established a reputation as a double crosser, that qualifies you to run for the head of the camp of the fools. Now, about Iran, we have established in our analysis in previous podcasts that taking a town or a province and the periphery will do nothing, except perhaps tactically. And the game is to take a hold of Tehran. Mm-hmm. And for that, the Kurds are not very useful. We were discussed a lot how can it be done. I don't think there will be American special operations much, because Israel has so many native-born, good Persian-speaking that can be put on the ground that I don't think it will be wise to risk any American lives. I think I managed to convince Jacob that the final victory, mopping up the resistance, can be achieved with drones. We are going to soon terminate the first stage of taking out the establishment, and then you will have to deal with what Jacob calls football hooligans, and that can be dealt with drones.
Mm-hmm. Well, and the other thing, so the significant thing that's happened right now, which is very interesting, is we have been using kind of our higher tech and more of our stealth bombers up to this point. And then now, I grew up, actually, the grade school that I went to was about a mile, about 2 miles away from, as the crow flies, from the Strategic Air Command in the United States, which was like the main center for the Air Force. But at any rate, we are able now to fly just our traditional B-2 bombers now, which can then opens up a whole bunch of payloads. Like we can drop a lot more because basically we have air superiority now. So for the first time, we're able to just basically send in the hard working heavy units, a lot of ordnances. It's a lot cheaper, but we can carpet bomb the hell out of the IRGC assets. We talk about so now we can just totally dismantle all of their military capabilities, and then, like you say, then you come in with the drones for the more targeted, taking out.
But that is almost done by now. I mean, there will be use of the bombers, but it's almost done. What you need is the fine tuning, is just picking up the fleas, and there is the technology for that. Okay, so
well, and so they're moving farther in. And you mentioned about Tehran. There's the full out assault on Tehran is continuing, and like they said, they've kicked the gas. Like in the joint press briefing today, General Kane communicated that they're hitting the accelerator. Like the things are not ramping down; they're ramping up right now. So, like you say, although we've done that, it's interesting. The other thing is I don't know. So from your perspective, obviously you have the opinion and you're hearing from inside Israel, so on and so forth. Once they've basically not just reduced, but effectively virtually eliminated the military capability of the IRGC, and now they're just left with weapons in towns where they can mow down people. You think that what you say at that point turns into, am I hearing you correctly, drone attacks, the Iranian people there, and just basically rooting out the hooligans and all those other sorts of folks?
Yeah, using drones to what? I mean, Mr. Artisan Artifact said thou shall not kill/murder. Kill, we will. We're going to kill. We're not going to murder. How can you do killing without murdering? This is the technology that you can actually see face to face who are you shooting, and you can distinguish from close quarters if this is a warrior carrying a gun or a civilian. This is what drone technology gives you.
Interesting.
I mean, look at the films.
So we've got the official secular Quranas. I'm glad they're back. I don't want to get the United States in wars. We have enough problems of our own. But if you're asking me, do I feel sorry that the evil regime of the Iranians are getting eliminated after the terror that they have portrayed on the world and the instability that they have caused to tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions? Lord have mercy on me, a sinner. I don't feel bad that the regime is getting taken out, this horrific regime. I stand with the Iranian people on that.
Okay.
I think that's pretty much my position. The only difference I think between you and me regarding that is that I'm a little bit more fine with American intervention, just because the amount of money that's being wasted is already enormous. And so if we're going to waste, if there's already enormous amounts of money wasted, I don't care if a couple, $1 billion are going to fund this.
Well, here's what I think about when it comes to this. Actually, so we've got to take care of this, and that's the most. Will this be successful if we can if there is some sort of effective regime change and Iran leaves being a terrorist nation at the leadership level, and then ultimately, when I think about you, Cool Kid Kirk, this has as much to do, from my perspective, 20, 30 years down the road, about China. Right, which is going to be the thing that you guys are going to have to deal with incredibly during your lifetime. And so, you know, when you start thinking of the larger geopolitical effects or so on and so forth, you know, getting leverage over China. I mean, can you put a price tag on that? I mean, to at least affect them. So I don't worry about that stuff as much.
Yeah. I don't exactly know what this has to do with China. If you could elaborate that for me, that would be appreciated.
Pardon me?
What does this have to do with China exactly?
Oil. Let's just start. There's lots of reasons. Why was China trying to get into Venezuela? And why was that so effective to basically cut off their oil source from Venezuela for their economy? They do not have the resources. They desperately need oil. Iran was another place where, you know, China had no problem breaking the sanctions and was getting cheap oil. You ultimately cut that off, and you provide the power and the leverage over China when it relates to that. Like, that's massive for them. I think it's, you know, so China is, I mean, listen, they're stealing our IP. We stupidly gave them the manufacturing base. China has its own problems, but I see China as our in the post-World War II consensus. China is the chief adversary, bad actor that you guys are going to have to deal with in your lifetimes, in my grandchildren's lifetimes.
Well, my personal prediction is that if this regime falls, and if a moderate or reformist, or even if Reza Pahlavi becomes the leader of Iran, my perspective would be that basically what will have happen is there's a possibility they'll become more allied with the West, and so they'll cut off oil to China, which will be good for us and bad for China, at least the Chinese government. Does that make sense?
Yeah, China has a massive advantage on us because they don't have elections, right? And so they can put in 20 and 30-year plans and everything else. I mean, so if you think about just Americans and just safety and prosperity and just living without having, I mean, just look what happened in COVID. Like, our manufacturing base being in China, pharmaceuticals all being manufactured there, you know, those sorts of things put you at tremendous risk to protect your own citizenry. And so, you know, I get that. You know, people can make fun of me. Okay. And I get that. I said, there's artists and artifacts and secular Quranism. I get it. This, that, and the other. Yeah, I am not someone who, again, I was skeptical about all this, but I'm also not naive. And like Jacob would say on this channel, which is the hard thing, is I think Yoav talks about this too. I mean, effectively, there are times in history where you need to effectively take on evil, and you need to do these things in order for the betterment of others.
Let me just continue my quarrel with Mr. AA. It doesn't seem to understand that why I'm so suspicious of tribes in the Middle East. So let's take, for example, the most a priori trustworthy of them all, the Christians in Lebanon. First, they're Christian. They believe in turning the other cheek, and they believe in non-violence, and they're a tiny minority, and they have the interest to not to make a quarrel with anybody, and they have an interest to establish a culture of non-violence in the region, just because any violence in the regions will be directed against them. So a priori, I would put my trust in the Christians in Lebanon, even if they are Arabs. It doesn't matter that they are Arabs. Yes, they are Christians. Now, look what happens if you give a gun in the hands of the Christians in Lebanon. Genocide ensues. So, draw your own conclusion from history.
I'm glad I don't have to make these decisions, Yoav. I'm not smart enough.
Well,
Nobody is smart enough.
yeah. I am curious, Lance. I haven't seen you in a while. How have you been?
I've been okay. Super, super busy at work here, and wife's had some health issues, so just working on that. So I jumped in a little bit. Obviously this is I'm curious because this is massive. Been jumping on Jacob's channel here a little bit. I asked my stupid questions to try and learn more. I find it hard to find sources I trust, right? And I just didn't want the American perspective either. Like I really wanted to truly, because you don't know, like I'm very skeptical of probably a lot of a lot of things I like to see. I like to take some time, but I truly want to understand what the Iranian people's perspective is on all this.
Also, Yoav, even though it's, I think, is Purim over yet?
Just now. This is just the last hour of Purim has passed.
Okay, well, a belated Hag Purim Sameach to you.
Yeah.
I enjoy your Hamantashen hat. Yeah. So, Lance, out of curiosity, are you like a business owner, or like I think I've talked to you about your profession before, but I don't exactly know what you do personally.
I work for an association of Christian high schools. I'm kind of CFO, so I do all the financial stuff and operational stuff for them. So
I see. So you're good with like math and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. I wouldn't say I'm good. I wouldn't say I'm good with math. I do a lot of, just to say, yes, I kind of run that aspect of it, but a lot of it is just business processes and strategy and stuff like that. So I would say what I am is I'm a good problem solver. I'd say my two biggest, I'm a good problem solver and I'm a good communicator.
Yeah. Artists and Artifacts seems to be a troll.
Yeah, he is.
Or they are. We don't know what their gender is.
And we don't know what's going on. Yeah.
I think he's a Jacob Fatterucci approved troll.
Was there something you guys wanted me to say? I'm sorry, I'm in the middle of making phone calls.
No, Yoav jumped in and answered my questions that I was going to ask you. So
hopefully he answered them correctly. He is, after all, the chief rabbi of North Tel Aviv. But yeah, I am desperately trying to actually get my CPAP machine, which would be nice to actually have. So
yeah, get her done.
Yeah. But yeah, sorry, I wasn't exactly monitoring exactly what you guys were saying. I heard Jacob though, Fatterucci.
We were talking about Iran, and I was asking Lance about how he's been doing. And yeah, it's always a good thing to when you don't know something, ask someone who knows more than you.
This is definitely true. Yes.
Well, we live in such a day and age where it's particularly, it's so easy for, you don't know what you're seeing on X. It's the best place to try and get information, but you got to kind of pilfer through what you're seeing. So
true. And apparently my health insurance has been canceled. So yeah. Okay. You guys can keep on talking, but I gotta get stuff figured out.
Yeah.
I will talk to you guys later.
Okay.
Okay.
So, Yoav, did you? So this week's Parsha, Kisisa is the name of it. But I was having some thoughts about it, and I have a question. If you think I'm this interpretation of the parsha is a valid interpretation. So this interpretation of the parsha, um, it mentions the idea that you should not cook a goat in its mother's milk. And to my understanding, the traditional rabbinic explanation of this is that you don't mix life, represented by milk, right, nurturing life, with death, represented by dead meat. And I'm curious, do you think this is symbolic for the importance of separating the profane from the holy?
Well, you're taking seriously Jacob's compliment that I'm the chief rabbi of North Tel Aviv. I should not be speaking about it. I would say any interpretation is a valid interpretation. What we two of us see when we reading the books of Joshua through Kings is that actually you can interpret the text in many ways, even if it's an historical report. It's still open to many interpretations. So I accept the interpretation as valid. I just want to mention the fact that that commandment is mentioned 3 times in the Bible. So this is why we stress it so much. I mean, there are so many, hundreds of commandments, but we are pressing an extra emphasis on that one because extra emphasis was placed on it. So it must mean something important. And your interpretation could be, as I said, it's a valid one.
Yeah. That idea that all interpretations are valid is not necessarily one that I know if I agree with, because then you might fall into a form of postmodernism or relativism where you say that all interpretations are valid, when in reality it could be that some interpretations are intended to be a reflection of God's will more than others.
Okay, so now let's put on it Marx's notion of hierarchy. You put more weight on the interpretation of somebody who is up in the hierarchy. Like if the Pope has an interpretation, then I will put more weight on it as than Yoav's interpretation. The question is, what ladder are you climbing? Are you climbing the Catholic ladder, or are you climbing the Jewish ladder? And the Jew says, well, pick your ladder. Make yourself your rabbi and buy your own friends. So the Judaism say you pack up the rabbi and you erect your, I mean, there are so many varieties of Judaism. Lots of courts of Hasidim, and against them they are the mitnagdim. So it's not everybody's on his own. I mean, you have to stick to, it's like a profession. You choose a profession and you make a career of that. You don't float aimlessly. But you can pick up whatever profession you want.
Yeah. So the thing about the understanding Judaism, as I understand it, is that you find a rabbi and you find what rabbi suits you, but then you stick to that rabbi, right? So it's not, so you can pick whatever rabbi you want, but as soon as you pick it, you have to stick with it, right?
Well, I don't know if you have to do it only once. It's not Catholic marriage, but of course, if you change it too many times, you're actually declaring that you're on your own and you're obeying nobody.
Okay, so you can pick it, but you can't pick it too much.
Yes, that's the way I see it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Jacob. Jacob was a Satmar. and now he's sort of Chabad. And he has changed his career. Hopefully not too many times.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks, gentlemen. I'll be listening to you guys offline. Good to see you, Yoav. Good to see you, Kirk.
Good to see you
see
too.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't have. Is it just me or is Lance still on? Okay.
Sorry?
Is Lance still on your end?
I don't know. He appears to sort of disconnect. Maybe he didn't disconnect properly. Okay,
Yeah.
somebody asked him a constitutional question whether Trump actions are legal in the US or not. I'm not an expert on the matter. I just want to make up the simple truth that Iran has declared war on America some 47 years ago. So the question whether America formally declared war on Iran, yes or no, it's an interesting point of law, but it doesn't change much on the essence of the issue.
Yeah. So, Yoav, out of curiosity, if it's a kind of tangential question, but since it's just the two of us, why I don't see why not ask it.
Why not?
You studied set theory, right, when you were young?
Yes, you have a good memory.
Yeah. So when you studied set theory, did you study the diagonal proof, Cantor's diagonal proof of multiple sizes of infinity?
I'm not sure that I was about 6 years old or maybe 10, but I know what you're talking about. I know what proof you're talking about.
Yeah. So I'm curious, what do you think about this counter argument to that proof? So the argument is that the amount of the infinity between 0 and 1 is greater than the infinity of the natural whole numbers 1, 2, 3, 4,
True.
because there's 0.111 and 0.12 and etc. And that's a greater size infinity than 1, 2, 3, 4, right?
Yes.
And I'm saying I don't think there's a greater size infinity because you can never construct an actual infinity. Infinity is not a real mathematical concept. It's only exists in a sense that you can always add one more number to a set, but you can never actually get to infinity. And so the idea of multiple sizes of infinity, that doesn't make sense because there's no such thing as infinity.
Okay. Again, I'm speaking about things that I know nothing about, but I will speak nevertheless. Yes, true. Infinity is not a number. Infinity is a process, is an algorithm. For example, the counting process is one infinity. Because it's not a number, the traditional definition of what is big and what is small doesn't apply. But you are free to make your own definition. So what Cantor did, he has defined bigness in a new way, suitable for processes and not for numbers. And it says, can one process contain the other while the other doesn't contain the first? And that is what the diagonal proof is about. Using the new notion of what big and what is big and what is small on processes rather than numbers.
Yeah, but I would say I don't think that's a valid definition of big and small in my personal view, because if it's an open-ended process but it's not a number as we agree, then you can't. I don't think the idea of a bigger or smaller process is valid because a process is only a potential; it's not actual.
Yeah, this is a point exactly when you like choosing your rabbi. This is when it gets to, in the end, you having to choose your mathematics. Because mathematics splits at this point. And you can follow one mathematics or follow another. Now, because your interpretation is valid as well as the other interpretation, it's just, again, a question of which path you wish to follow. And this is just math and not theology. You can follow, on Sunday, you can, for the fun of it, follow the one path, and on Monday, for the fun of it, follow the other. Just see where they lead you.
Yeah. Well, it has some implications. It has some implications for physics, because basically, I recently read an article that I posted in Discord from Quantum Magazine, which says that there are some theoretical physicists who are using the intuitionist math that I was referring to, where you can't construct actual infinity, and so there aren't multiple sizes of infinity, to argue because you can't have actual infinite precision of mathematics. Therefore, there can't be an infinite amount of information at any given at any given moment of time in the universe, and therefore, because there can't be infinite amount of information at any given moment of time in the universe, there can't be a block universe where past, present, and future equally coexist. There must be an objective succession of past to present to future, which is irreversible and asymmetric, because new information is added over time, because you can't have infinite information.
Why can't you have infinite information?
Because you can never, the argument is that infinity only exists as potentiality, right? This is
Okay.
the Aristotelian and Kantian
Fine.
understanding of infinity in mathematics, is that infinity only exists as potentiality, not actuality. So you can't
Yeah.
have infinite information.
Yeah, I can only answer to that in yes. If math is broken and physics is relying on math, then physics is broken. But then we know that physics is broken. So, yeah, that's the state of things.
Yeah, well, so that's exactly the thing, is that if you can't have infinite information because infinity only exists as potentiality, this means that time must pass because new information is added over time.
Hi.
Gilad, okay, you were echoing, but now you're not. So I understand that you were here at the beginning and I missed you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi. Just came to, since I was listening to Kirk's question about, like, you sent the article, I skimmed over it. So this was a part of my master's work. I was working on information engines, and I'll just add a point about infinite information is that there's a 1991 paper from Landauer talking about that information is physical. And that's a major shift that happened in our perception of the second law of thermodynamics. And there are different ways to show this, but that I think is the thing that the article you sent brings into the discussion of the block universe or quantum mechanics.
Yeah, so the argument, as I understand it, is there can't be infinite information, since infinity, as Aristotle demonstrated to us, exists only as potentiality. Therefore, there can't be infinite amount of information at a given moment in time, and therefore new information must be added over time to the universe, and therefore time must objectively pass.
I get your argument. I'm not sure that's the argument they're making. I think what they're saying is, within the same framework of physics that has infinities, etc., you just don't have physical infinity. You don't have an infinite amount of information.
But that's what I just said. You don't have an infinite amount of physical information at any given moment in time. That's the argument I'm making.
Yeah, but the sense, like, this doesn't derive. It isn't derived from the proof of different sizes of infinities, like Cantor's proof. Like that's not. It's just different arguments that I think you're putting together that don't necessarily relate to one another.
Well, the argument is that the article mentions that it goes back to the intuitionist math. So it's
Yeah.
basically the idea, and that. But I'm saying that the same intuitionist math, which says that infinity exists only as potentiality, therefore there can't be multiple sizes of infinity, is the same argument that there can't be actual infinite amount of physical information, so time must objectively pass. It's the same math.
Imagined triumph of the physicalists.
Can I interpret it since he's not here? The moment of creation is when God speaks. And what is speech in vacuum? Is adding information onto the physics. I think there is at least it is my view, information comes from God, and therefore information is not physical.
Yeah. But Gilad, just to clarify, am I correct in my interpretation of the article as saying that the intuitionist math is saying that infinity exists only as potentiality, and therefore there can't be infinite information at a moment in time, and therefore time must pass because new information is being added to the universe, and it has its roots in the same intuitionist math as the one I was referring to, that's against the Cantor set theory of there being multiple sizes of infinity. Am I correct in my interpretation of that?
I would say, well, it depends what you mean. So I would say, in general, in physics, you use whatever math is more applicable. There's a Feynman video that's easy to find where he says, what if you had, he asked his students, like, what if you have two different interpretations that lead to the same equations? Should you pick one? Does it not matter? Should you stick with one and then go with it forward? And what he says is that the real importance is when you're working on things that are beyond the scope of the current theory, then you will get different intuitions from different interpretations, even if the equations are the same. So in general, I know that sizes of infinity come into play in different areas of physics, not in the specific area of like conceptualizing the block universe. Just in general, they pop up.
But I would say in this case, I'm not saying the different sizes of infinity comes up in the conceptualizing black universe. I'm saying the intuitionist math that is at the basis of rejecting the multiple sizes of infinity is being used to reject the black universe, right?
To the best of my understanding, and I only skimmed it, right? To the best of my understanding, that's not necessary. Like it might. I would say it sounds like it was inspired by it rather than derived by it. And that's usually how things work in advancements in physics, right? You have inspiration that crosses between different fields or times rather than someone like going back and then re-deriving it and then, let's change all the foundations.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not necessary that it's not necessarily that intuitionist math, if you believe in intuitionist math, that doesn't necessarily lead you to reject the block universe?
I just don't think people typically, like, people are people, right? But belief in math is not the same as belief in of the religious sense, right? Like, math is a way to think about things. And if you can think about things with a different interpretation, like he's proposing, and it could help you sort of get a better grasp of other things that you haven't thought of, then you should go for it. And that's why theoreticians are still doing some work, and that work is meaningful, right? But you don't believe in math or in the sort of metaphysics when you're doing physics in the same way that you believe things religiously.
I know, but I guess the point I'm making is that the logical outcome of accepting the interpretation of math as infinity only exists as potentiality, which is the intuitionist view, means logically that there can't be an infinite amount of information in a physical space, and therefore new information is added over time.
I just like the only thing I don't understand is like there can't, with any perception of math, there can never be infinite information in a confined physical space. That's not an intuitionist math thing. That's just like a fact of everything we know about physics, right? That's like I said, the Landower article that I linked. It's just like that's within the non-intuitionist math, within all of the concepts of infinity that already exist. That's just true regardless.
I see.
Information,
So,
there cannot be actually infinite information. There are no infinitely precise measurements. Like that's simply agreed upon in all fields, regardless of your other views regarding it.
okay, so using intuitionist math is a sufficient but not necessary way to reject the block universe.
Yeah, like I said, I think I've heard this rejection of the block universe in different ways, and many of them point to information. Like the idea that information is the arrow of time is not new. It's not like Gissen's novelty doesn't come from that. I think it comes from like you said, this use of intuitionist math and like maybe some other things that I could point to if I dig deeper into the article. But like I said, I've heard the whole concept of entropy in statistical mechanics is sort of the arrow of time. Right? You only have increasing entropy over time. That's like if you have gas in like a confined space because you hold it there and then you release the whatever's blocking it, then it spreads out. And then like if you technically reversed all of the directions of the particles, then they would return to the same place. Like all of the Newtonian things there are reversible, but that never happens in reality. Like you don't have gas that's just like randomly gonna just come back and be at the place where it started.
Just a comment. The word never is about infinity. If you say never, I mean, over infinite time, it would have happened. Since there is no infinity in nature, then this is why it never happens.
I mean, you could that is true to some extent, right? Because we know that it will happen, and we know the probability in which it will happen, and that probability is so low that it won't happen. We know, like that eventually it will, right? Or statistically, it does happen. But I'm just saying that that creates a direction, right? That's a direction in which. When you look at Newtonian mechanics, you can always run the film backwards and everything looks the same physically. Like the physics behaves the same way, whether you're going forwards in time or backwards in time. When it comes to thermodynamics, there's no reversibility. Like the heat goes from the hot to the cold. It never goes from the cold to the hot, right? That's just. And the way that's resolved in physics is by statistical mechanics.
Yeah.
Mechanics goes into information, and information goes into quantum, and they all sort of mesh around that point. So it's not surprising that the way to discuss, and they also mention chaos in the same article. And my master's supervisor, she always assumed that chaos, like at the end of it, must be somehow related to something quantum, but in at its core, like those are really related principles, because chaos theory is exactly the notion that if you can never measure something so precisely that like you would know exactly what will happen in the future
Yeah.
when
But-
you're talking about a chaotic system.
But I think I know exactly where the intuitionist math comes from. So I've been studying set theory recently, and I was learning about the Brouwer-Hilbert controversy of intuitionist versus formalist math, and I know about this a little bit, but tell me if any of this is mistaken. But the intuitionist idea is the idea that math is a construct of the mind, and the formalist position is that math is not a construct of the mind. My understanding of the article is that basically the adding of new information is not just related to entropy, but I believe it's related just the changing of quantum systems in general, including entropy, but just their change in general, like the collapse of the wave function. And I believe this is related to I don't know if you've ever read this book, but there's a book named The Logic of Scientific Discovery by Popper, where he does I haven't read that much of it, so I haven't gotten to this part of it, but I've heard in that book, or at least in some of his writings, he develops a propensity interpretation of probability, where propensity is basically the capacity of a physical system to change, its potentiality, basically, and it's intrinsic to objects. And the article, as I understand it, is saying that the future is not just time passes, but time also the future is indeterminate, right? It's a non-determinate because basically there's an intrinsic randomness that's ontological and not merely epistemic in quantum physics, and that's why new information is added, is because it's random. It's ontologically random, not merely epistemically random. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, I get the argument. I think in general that when you talk about like quantum mechanics and the collapse and the different interpretations of that collapse, you get into murky waters in the sense that there's a lot of ways to misconceive of it, and one of them, like the most common, is this idea that it's consciousness, like it has to be like a living creature that would have to measure the system, and then that's the only way that a wave function works. That's not.
That's
That's
not what
something that a
Popper
lot
is
of
saying.
people seem to think, and it's not. Okay, so I would say, like, I don't have an infinite amount of time to stay here, but I would say in general, the discussion between like is math invented or discovered is, let's say, not going to be resolved anytime soon, and my sense is that it's quite profound, and I don't think like I think it's something that we can enjoy. Like,
Yeah, well,
on
it's quite profound, and it's also relevant for this interpretation of physics, because if you believe it's constructed by the human mind, then you believe you can't have infinite precision, and therefore the future is indeterminate.
Yeah, but you could also say that it's. I don't accept that claim. Like you could construct by the mind something that you can say has no like infinite precision, or you can discover. Non-intuitive, like with like math really exists and there's no infinite precision. So it's like,
Well,
yeah.
It's a sufficient but not necessary argument.
I don't think so. I don't think it's sufficient. I think you can have an intuitionist view and still believe that infinity is a real thing that we that for which we made up a construct that denotes it.
I don't necessarily agree, because you can't construct actual infinity. I don't think you can construct actual infinity. You can construct a symbol
Okay,
infinity.
you also can't construct the number 1 or 2. Like that, those are not things because it's not one of a thing, right? Like
Well, you
there- there's-
can here. I'll construct the number 1 for you. Here's 1 glass of water. There, I've constructed 1 for you.
yeah, but you've constructed 1 glass of water. You've not constructed the abstract oneness of the glass or two-ness of 2 glasses.
But for the intuitionist, what numbers are, as I understand it, is the mental construct which gives intelligibility to reality. And so this water glass is only intelligible as 1 water glass.
As I said, it's a very large body of philosophy to discuss it, and like I think like I've reached the edge of the depth that I have any sort of understanding or authority in. So I'll leave the rest for you to read.
Okay, so I have a meta comment here. A lot of people got bored, and I want to speak against it. The whole idea of the TLC is that you don't know. And since you don't know, you listen to other people's viewpoints, which are hopefully different than yours. Sometimes the other view is enraging and makes you angry. Sometimes it's boring. But in either case, you should really brace yourself and try to listen, even to the boring. Listening to the boring part is even harder than listening to the difficult part, because otherwise, how will you learn?
Yeah, that's true, Yoav. I'll just say this, Gilad, and then if you gotta go, you gotta go. I really think you should read the article, and I think you'll understand the connection between intuitionist math, the notion that infinity exists only as potentiality and not actuality, and how that relates to rejecting the black universe and indeterminacy more clearly. But it was good talking to you.
You too. See you around. Bye, Yoav. Bye, Kirk.
Bye.
Okay.
So, Yoav, I've gotta get going too, because soon there's per study and there's some I want to talk to someone soon. But it was good talking to you, Yoav. You're a smart guy. You're a smart guy.
You're a smart guy, and I'm trying to keep up. You are the one that's reading everything, and I'm trying to scratch my memory from decades ago if I can say anything of any importance.
Yeah. Okay. I'll make sure to keep. Is there anyone in your family who is sick? And if so, can you give me the Hebrew name? Because I would like to say Misha Barak for them.
Thank you, but I'm fine.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, I'm not going to end the stream without Jacob. I can fill up what I wanted to say about Russians and Georgians. Hopefully the Georgians have left and they'll not be too angry with me about mentioning the subject again. I think it's a good exercise in people's relations. So the Georgians are claiming that the Russians have not been kind to them as a nation. I don't know anything about the history, so I will not comment on that. The little that I know is how this is looking from the Russians' eye. They will, of course, discount any historical grievances that the Georgian would have, and they will observe the behavior of the individual Georgian in a Russian society. And their observation would be that even though Russian society can be sometimes corrupt or even very corrupt, Georgian way of life is much more corrupt. Corruption in the sense of bribery. And what I'm seeing here is that the Georgian, while rejecting or necessarily rejecting the Russian system, have to develop a subculture of their own, which will be informal and to an outside observer will look corrupt. I can tell you an anecdote. Russians are studying to be surgeons in a medical school, to be surgeons. And the Georgian is extremely inept and obviously is not fit to be a surgeon. But he's still managing to finish the course of the education and get a degree, probably through a lot of corruption, because corruption in the Russian society can happen. And when they have graduated, the Russians are asking the Georgian, what are you going to do? You're now going to a hospital and you're going to operate on people and you're going to kill them. Are you ready to do that? And he replied, well, of course I will not operate on anybody. I'm not a murderer. So they asked, so how did you plan to make a living? And said, the system is that, it's a socialist state. Patients are assigned to you by the system. And then they pay you a lot of money to quit and to assign them to another surgeon. You actually don't have to perform any surgery to become very rich. So that's the alternative system, which happens when a minority is feeling an underdog within a majority and still keeping to their identity. It happens. I hope I didn't make everybody very angry with me by saying that.
My mind is in so many places. I'm not sure I paid too much attention. It was a joke about socialists not actually doing anything and just making money. Pretty much.
Yeah. And no, I said an anecdote. Anecdote has two meanings. It can mean a joke and it can mean a true story. I heard it as a true story. Also, it is a joke.
Yeah, true stories are too often jokes. How you doing, Yoav?
Excellently. I mean, just been very good days for me. No work.
That's
So
usually good.
a lot of seeing the grandson. Been out with him in the morning. Going to see him tomorrow, possibly.
You're Saba, right?
Hmm?
You're Saba? He calls you
Yes.
Saba?
Is calling me Baba because he cannot pronounce Saba very well yet. So I'm still a Baba.
That's great. Yeah.
Yoav's humor is about as flat as the sense of justice. My humor is okay. My delivery is awful.
Artisan is like this close to getting banned. He like
Yeah.
I have a lot of patience for trollish behavior. I don't have a lot of patience for stupidity.
Yeah, he has been rather stupid to my judgment this stream. Maybe he will improve later.
Yeah. I mean, I think so far I've put him in timeout twice, which is 2 more times than most people. I don't even bother timing them out. I just ban them, and Don apparently put him in another timeout, I guess. But Don, if you feel like you need to ban someone, feel free. I trust your judgment more than I trust my own. And the reason I have so many people with wrenches is because generally, like, if people ban, really is it, well, I mean, if I've banned him already, then like, I don't know, Ethan, you got a wrench. You could ban him. By the way, I don't know why it took X 5 days to deliver the message, but apparently you've been speaking to Rabbi Burton. I am very, very impressed by Rabbi Burton. Did you interview him or something? Because if you did an interview with him, I've been meaning to interview Rabbi Burton again, but like, honestly, so today, like, I've got so much stuff to do. I shouldn't be spending it on here, but
Feel free to end the stream whenever you want it. I'll find something to do.
well, you could end the stream when you wanted to, but is there a class today at 11?
Chesed asked him, well, I always listen to it, but somehow I never find that I can contribute anything because I do not pray. Never. I can sing. I mean, pretend to sing. I cannot even pretend to pray. So I am listening.
Apparently, Ethan is going to Malin Bekadusha Vein Jordan. So he's going to start with me, and then Chezi, and then Yoav, and then Yosef, and then Rabbi Burton. Tells you what he says, what he believes the order of Kedusha is. I'm not sure I disagree so much. Seems about right to me. Yoav is feeling uncomfortable.
No, I'm absolutely fine, and I don't mind the trolls because I don't have to answer any troll comment. But sometimes the troll comment can give me, a seed of a subject to talk about. Because sometimes, discussion dies out, and what will you do now? Well, you respond to one of the trolls.
Chezi, now Chezi's trolling me. Chezi's really trolling me. Because Shalosh Shavuot is, yeah. I don't know what that is. It's just the order I met y'all in. Malin B'Kedusha Vein Jordan is a rule in Jewish law that we increase in holiness. We do not decrease. Apparently Artisan thinks he loves you more than I love you, Yoav, which is a lot of love. You're a beloved person. Chaviv.
Yeah, this is. The name Yoav is about love, isn't it?
Yoav? Is it?
Yes, it's the future of love. He will love.
Yoav. There's no hey in Yoav.
Yeah.
Yoav. I guess if you put God into Yoav, it
no, but the hey will drop. I mean, nobody will say Yoav. It's not in speech. It's too the A will drop.
What was I gonna say? Oh, we could from now on call you Muhammad. You can be Muhammad. Would you like to be Muhammad?
Yes, Muhammad. Yeah. the bass clarinet. Well, it should be done by appointment. I mean, I'm waiting for Mr. Ringel to organize another session of music playing.
Okay, and
Maybe next time I will bring the clarinet. Okay,
my dog has started destroying my shoes, and he decided to start with my newest shoes, not with my oldest shoes. Of course.
Okay. So let's give me some time to prepare between broadcasts because I don't want to join Chezis.
Okay. We will end as we have been with our little song to Yechi HaMelech, Reza Pahlavi.
رضا پهلوی وارث تاج ایران انتظارمون روز شاهیته سرفرازیمون پادشاهیته زن زندگی آزادی مرد میهن آبادی جاوید شاه جاوید شاه این ملت آزادی میخواد به جای غم شادی میخواد ایران آزاد شکوه دیرین میخواد زن زندگی آزادی مرد میهن آبادی جاوید شاه جاوید شاه مردم ایران بازگشت تو را از خود میخوان ایران آزاد میشه شاه برمیگرده این آخرین نبرده پهلوی برمیگرده زن زندگی آزادی مرد میهن آبادی جاوید شاه جاوید شاه این آخرین نبرد پهلوی برمیگرده جاوید شاه جاوید شاه
پهلوی برمیگرده
جاوید